Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Lady Leadership Podcast, and I would like to welcome today Renata Sguario. Renata is a good friend of mine. I've known Renata for quite some time, and I will just start by sharing that we are actually twins. And
we really are, aren't we, Sam? Twins.
So we are both born on the same day and the same year, and so we are actually twins. So I'll disclose that for everyone's knowledge. But I think where were you born?
In the Ukraine.
Yes.
At the time USSR.
And I was born in Melbourne, so we're not actually twins. But now, what I should say is I'm actually interviewing Renata about not about being my twin. I'm interviewing her about her business, which is called Maxme. Now, Renata, can you let my audience know about Maxme? Tell us a little bit about it.
So Maxme is a business that I started just over a year ago. It's a business that's been bubbling away in my head for, probably 2 years at least. And it's a business that focuses on helping tertiary students, new job seekers, or really anyone who's looking to develop and improve their human skills. It really focuses on what I think is a gap at the moment in corporate, in business. I'm someone that's spent almost 30 years in that environment, and through the work that I've done, through the people that I've coached, mentored, led, it is a gap and continues to be a gap. And as we move forward, the work of the future will require a lot more in that domain. And so I started the business to try and solve a problem.
I love it. And when you talk about human skills, just run me through what that means for you.
So some people know them as people skills, soft skills. It's basically those intangible things that are linked to who you are as a person. So your self-awareness, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, your ability to communicate. And, for me, it's also not just communicate, it's communicate with impact, communicate with influence. Things like mindfulness, your ability to be resilient and to recover from setbacks. Things like planning and managing your time, being, able to deliver on your promises, being able to work with others. They're the dimensions that are human driven, are about the person rather than the technical work that they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, those things are probably becoming more important, I think, with, the recent change that we've had in our workplaces. We're not in front of each other. And so I think, your ability to do all of those things is probably, I'd say, I don't know, some people might be struggling if they're not that way inclined. What do you think?
Look, I definitely think that, there are some people that are naturally quite strong in their ability to, I guess, deliver or be good or strong in the aspect of their human skills. But Sam, to be honest, it's not something that we are taught to focus on really from an early age. If you look at the school system is very geared towards technical learning. And I know I'm probably generalizing. I'm sure that there are pockets out there, even in the school system, that do try and help students think about human skills, think about developing those skills as well as their maths, their English, their science, etc. And then the story continues. At tertiary, again, we're focused mainly on our technical skills, developing those, skills that is the perception is sort of job readiness skills. Again, there is no real focus or real push to develop the human skills or the soft skills. And then you sort of land in the workplace and it's almost like you're faced with that same story again. Yet the real undertow is we're human beings working with other human beings, servicing human beings, yet there really isn't value placed on those intangibles that are actually what drive success, empathy, connection, progress.
Oh, I totally agree. And I'm as we're talking, I'm thinking back through my schooling. I'm thinking back through, my university days. So I, studied a very technical course, computer science, and we didn't do anything but computer science. There was nothing about presentation skills. There was nothing about, working with others. You get put on team projects with people who wouldn't deliver and, you'd carry them, etc. All of that So what made you sort of decide to hone in on that tertiary area?
To be honest, Sam, as someone who led quite a lot of graduates, so I've worked in 2 organisations where I was heavily involved in the graduate program.
Yeah.
I was part of the recruitment process. I was always allocated a grad for every rotation because I became known as a leader who really invested in grads. And having dealt with grads and a lot of new starters, not just graduates of tertiary studies, actually new starters who hadn't been through tertiary per se,
Uh-huh.
because I did work in the operational world, in the customer service and operations areas, you deal with the same sort of challenges with the people that you lead, and that is lack of confidence, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say, not knowing how to contribute, not even knowing what they're good at, what they're not good at, what to focus on. And that is quite time intensive. And because I am a person who loves to help others with their potential, I always made the time. I became known as that person. But I realized that there's only one of me. And whilst, I don't have the monopoly on good leadership skills, I did look around, and there were, I wouldn't necessarily say that my peers focused on helping others develop those things and become better in the workplace. So I
Yeah.
thought, what better way to contribute in the next decade, which, when you get to my age, you start thinking about, okay, in the next 10 years, what do you want it to look like? I've got kids that are going through, about to land in tertiary. How can I actually solve for the problem before they get to work rather than when they get to work? And it gets harder and harder to change a person's point of view and the way they go about things.
Yeah, and people get sort of set in their ways, and I find it interesting. I think we're kind of doing similar things. You're focusing on university students and skills, etc., and I'm focusing on helping women in their careers. So I think we're kind of kindred spirits in that aspect.
Well, we are twins. We know this, right?
And so, do you think there's any difference then between sort of skills for women and skills for men?
Look, it's a good question, and I've been interestingly. We actually did a study with over 400 university students recently, and the majority of the students that we got feedback from were females, and certainly people have said to me along the way in the last year or two around the business that females have a higher propensity to want to develop themselves, to want to engage. They're more likely to be more empathetic leaders. There's a lot of generalizations. To be honest with you, if you're a human, you should be working on your human skills. And to be honest with you, Sam, we know that there's a disproportionate number of male senior leaders to female senior leaders, particularly in corporate, which is where I've come from. And I think that therefore we really owe ourselves and our customers, males and females, to be focusing and thinking about the development of their human skills. As I said to you, it doesn't actually matter what gender you are. It may influence your willingness to go there, I guess. I'll put that out there. But regardless of your gender, human skills are important to be able to deliver not only your own career aspirations and, get yourself to where you want to go, but also when you lead others, it's really, really important the way you lead them and how you help them realize their potential.
Yeah, and I think like you said, we've both seen the best and the worst of kind of the corporate space, and like you said as well, the amount of males to females ratio. You said it very politely. I'm saying it a little less politely. And so what do you think then that women, so this is a podcast for women, what should women specifically do for themselves?
To be honest, I think, as women, again, I don't want to generalize, but as women, I think we're in a really almost a unique or better off situation as we think about our human skills. Again, I want to generalize and say I think we are more nurturing in our approach to things anyway.
Yeah.
And so taking on and really getting behind those human skills, soft skills, one, you've got a natural predisposition to be good at it anyway. But it's like anything. I think every woman has got to look within herself and say, what am I good at? What should I be proud about? What are my strengths? Become more self-aware around your value proposition, around what you naturally have to offer. who you are as a person, and get to know that really intensely. First and foremost, don't do anything until you do that. What that then allows you to do is to really unlock your ability to then be clear on that, be able to talk about that, be able to actually invest in those areas in yourself that you're naturally predisposed to being good at. And that, I think, in terms of certainly the model that I've put forward, is that then opens up other things like the confidence to communicate in a much more impactful way. The ability then to actually be able to read the signs around you, because you're more comfortable in your own skin and you know your value, you know who you are, you become a lot more comfortable to the outside world as well.
Yeah.
Your ability then to, get beyond challenging situations, again, from that position of self-awareness and strength, just makes it much easier.
And, it's sort of that stepping into your own power, isn't it, really? That as you were talking, I was thinking, confidence and, just that ability to be who you are. And I think, we're, I won't say we're old, but we've got a couple of years under our belt. And I think, you kind of, you care less, I suppose. But you care less because you get clearer on who you are and what you're good at.
Couldn't agree with you more. And as a woman with two daughters, both teenagers, one just turned 18, I can't tell you how hard it is for me to watch my daughter, who is so not clear on everything that she has inside her, all of the beauty, the richness, everything she should be confident about, she's actually not confident about. And it's heartbreaking, actually. And of course, as a mother, but also someone who's thinking about this a lot from a business point of view, I truly want to help her and her colleagues to just see what's within them already, unlock that potential, and then the world is their oyster, really.
Oh, absolutely. So tell me more then about Maxme and how it works.
So Maxme is I guess, the business that I started, and I have written a method, what I'm calling the Maxme method. And really what it's based on, Sam, is 30 years leading hundreds of people. So it definitely comes from my perspective, first and foremost, but then is also backed up by all of the investment that's been put into me as a leader. I've been lucky enough to be on several talent programs. I've had a lot of experiential investment in me. I've been part of programs, I've been immersed in the thinking of Seligman, of Covey, of Dan Pink, of these thought leaders, these global thought leaders on human skill development. And of course, I've done the research. So that's really, really important to be able to back up. I've actually worked with quite many students through the last year at least. And Maxme and the method is based on the conversations with those students and the things that are missing for them. So I really like to think of it as, a program for students written with students. And I think there's nothing more powerful than that, really. And it sort of brings to bear all of that thinking through, first and foremost, we're launching an app experience. So, the millennial demographic is one that is very used to dealing with the digital media, their phones first and foremost. And so we've developed an app. A gamified app, a fun app, an exciting, vibrant app that tries to engage our population that we're looking to work with. And this is very much the sort of 18, probably to 27s at this point in time. Those new to the work world and still developing themselves and working out what it's all about, and really trying to engage that content through that app and help them to learn bite-sized, fast, fun, activity-based.
And I think that's called Hodie, isn't it?
That's right. The app is called Hodie, which actually means today in Latin. So there is meaning behind the name.
Absolutely. So I'm assuming Maxme is about sort of maximizing yourself and maximizing your capability, and then Hodie all about today. And I think, so we're seeing, great change in sort of the economy at the moment, particularly around the, the jobs that you possibly get, say, coming out of university, those first types of jobs. What are you seeing?
I think that, interesting, the government's recently made an announcement around sort of what courses are good going forward and what courses are not good. And, you know, if I start to think about the students who are doing the arts courses, the more generalist business courses, at the moment, the government's flagging that they are, you know, probably not where we want to be, you know, as a sort of as a generation, as a community, and therefore they're going to make those courses cost more. Now, imagine if you're that art student, you're about to finish and you're about to be catapulted into the world of work, and you're going, well, hang on a second, now my course is on the nose, and am I not worthy, sort of thing. So the reality is the data from the 400 or over 400 students that we've spoken to recently, Sam's, been heartbreaking. You know, it's been quite confronting actually to read through what has been some pretty open, honest verbatims as well, not just questions that were asked. The students actually took the time to write verbatims. 82% of them, of the 400 plus, wrote down what they were thinking. That's highly unusual. We were told by the company that was running this for us. If you get 20% responses, you're lucky, and normally they're pretty average sort of responses. They were heartfelt responses. The students facing into the workforce at the moment, they are really scared of what they're facing into. You know, we had feedback like, you know, I'm feeling the imposter syndrome. I'm not feeling ready. I'm worried that I don't have the skills that I need. You know, they're pretty frank, open, honest comments from people who have spent many years in tertiary, about to face into the job hunt. Unemployment is up. Many people going for jobs at the same time. There is this feeling of unrest, this feeling of fear.
And I think, you know, also, you know, you've not got that retail or hospitality job that you think to yourself, I can fall back on, I can increase my hours, you know, for the retailer or the hotel that I work at, because, you know, they're not operating at the same, you know, level today.
That's 100% right. And then, you know, I may keep working at McDonald's and become a McDonald's manager until the next thing comes along. Those options aren't there as much anymore. No.
Yeah. And so in terms of launch, when are you launching? So I know that you're in startup mode at the moment.
We are. We're very much in MVP mode, which is exciting. The app will be available by mid-August. We're looking to really get the app into the hands of students by mid-August. We are launching with a sort of a free to student approach. So there is a very, very rich learning journey in Hodie, and it's 6 skills, lots of levels within each skill. And we will go to market putting it into the hands of students, with some of those levels being free to them so that they can get to use it. Do this, the strengths assessment. That's the core foundational piece. Everybody, it's like the first step, you know, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Do that strength assessment, learn what you're really good at, learn what you're not as good as, good at, I should say. And then as you make your way through the app, that's when we'll start to look at subscription, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I can tell the amount of work that's gone into this. How have you, you know, how's it been sort of running a startup, and, you know, how's that worked in with all your other roles, you know, mother, wife, and, you know, working yourself as well?
It's been one of the most full-on things I've ever done, Sam. You know, I've always, you know, people who know me, some would even call me a workaholic, I guess, but people who know me know that I've got a pretty strong work ethic and have always worked really hard to you know, get to where I've got to. But this is next level. Not only is it because it's sort of the me, myself and I show, and by the way, I should stop and thank, I have an incredible team. I've got a team of about 6 or 7 people who are doing various things, and they are incredible. I pinch myself every day thinking how lucky I am to have people like that in my team. They are incredibly passionate about what they do, and we are passionate together about this. It's very purpose-led, our work. And
right.
You know, the rest of it, unfortunately, from time to time has to suffer. You know, my kids are keen for this MVP launch to see what happens. You know, they've invested in it just as much as me. My husband, you know, we've had to put things on hold. But you rightly point out, I'm also doing some consulting work at the moment. So I'm sort of working by day and then working through the night on Maxme, on Hodie, on the content and everything coming together. So it is... it's pretty much a 24/7 proposition at the moment. But,
I mean,
you know, everyone gets it, and they're right there behind me.
yeah. Oh, I mean, that's great. And that's what you need. You need that supportive network. And also, you know, I think we all know, we've all seen the stories. This is what it kind of takes to launch your own business, doesn't it?
100%. And, you know, I went from tier one. I worked in some really, really big corporates, 30,000 plus people. I then spent a bit of time in the tier two,
Yep.
I guess, businesses, and they're smaller, less people to do the same sort of work. So you sort of get to the rhythm of rolling up your sleeves and having to do the work as well as lead the work. But this is next level, Sam. This is really all encompassing. You know, you're kind of a business development person 1 minute, and then you're a content writer another minute, and then you're, an app tester the next minute. It's amazing. I have never been so engaged and feeling so fulfilled as I am right now.
Oh, I love that, Renata. That's great. And, you know, that comes from sort of, you know, discovering what your purpose is really, and then, you know, fulfilling that and making things happen and seeing them happen around you.
And having a fantastic female network as well, Sam. You know, you shouldn't be humble. I've got some amazing, amazing female colleagues and friends around me who are really behind this, gunning for me, you know, prep me up when I need to be prepped up. And, you know, I think that that cannot be discounted. That you know, sisterhood, when
Yes.
it works, when we're not getting in each other's way, when we're actually
Yes.
supporting,
Yes.
helping each other, it is the most powerful thing that you will experience.
I'm getting tingles when you talk about that. And because, you know, for the audience, we're part of a little network that we have a little WhatsApp group, and we call ourselves the Amazing Ladies, and we get together and support and help. And like you said, we don't get in each other's way. And I think even with COVID, it's actually made us a bit tighter as a group. Would you agree with that?
Totally. And, you know, the things that we write to each other about and laugh about, you know, we are all corporate women. Like
Yeah.
every single woman in our group is
Yeah.
a really successful, has made it type of woman. And yet the things that we talk to each other about, they're the stupid things, the crazy things, you know. It is incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible to be a part of something like that.
I'm really pleased through this period that we've actually had that little group. It's been a bit of a, you know, I wouldn't quite say lifeline, but it's just, you know, when we've reduced our networks, you know, to our four walls, particularly in Melbourne, it has been really helpful. And, you know, for anyone listening, you know, how do you get that group of people around you? I mean, we created it really, you know, Anna.
Totally.
Yep.
And look, we enjoy each other's company. We enjoy each other's humour, and we don't take each other too seriously or ourselves too seriously. You know, we're not uptight or anything like that. It's just we're there for each other, which is great.
Yeah, and there to help, you know, both personal and work, and, you know, a group of women that just kind of get it as well, which is awesome. So how do you think COVID has affected Maxme and Hodie in any way? Do you think, I kind of get the feeling that it's just made it even more important?
Well, certainly has amplified my purpose,
Yeah.
and particularly after the data that we received, Sam, just quite disheartening. And again, I've got this, you know, my mother brought me up to be a person who thinks about others and helping others. I just can't help it. That's just how I am. I've been brought up that way, and that's how I am. And so just this yearning and this pull to try and do something and to try and help and to bring to bear, you know, what really is only a very small percentage of even corporate people, the amount of investment that I've been given in terms of developing my leadership and developing my human skills. Only a very small percentage of people get that sort of investment.
Yeah.
And so for me to be able to bring that into a methodology and to deliver it to students who really, and I don't want to be disrespectful of the system that they're in, but they get very little of this career advice, human skill development, you know, supporting, coaching, guiding, to be able to bring it to them in a way that they can take it and enjoy it. It's just, there's such a yearning, such a pull for me. It can't happen fast enough, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly can't really remember getting terribly much career advice as I was leaving university, and I think it's the sort of the very kind of top of the, you know, the pile that kind of and, you know, down to your parents and where you were brought up and your background, etc. To, you know, my mum said to me, you know, you might want to see if I study computer science, but you might want to see if you can get a job in the head offices of Target, where I worked on the weekends. And I did, you know, and I've had a 30-year career in retail off the back of, you know, quite a simple, I mean, you know, no one knew about what computers were back then either. So that was about as far as the career advice and, you know, skills assessment and all of that kind of, I was probably lucky in a way that I worked in retail. And so, and they were very big on customer service and all of that type of thing. And I do remember going on, you know, some training and stuff like that, but it wasn't a focus for the universities at all at that point.
No, and it continues to not be,
Yeah.
Sam. You know, in the data that we heard from our students, only 50% believe they've got any kind of human skill, I guess, training or knowledge through the university degree that they've done, and 50% have said they've got none. So that's a big number. That's a big number, given that it's a big differentiator in the workplace.
Yeah. Super exciting, Renata. Best piece of advice that you've been given in your career?
Really to back myself. And Sam,
Yeah.
you know, to be honest with you, I wish that it had come first from someone in corporate, but it came from my mum first.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, be confident in who you are and what you have to offer. Back yourself and be true to who you are. Don't try and be somebody else. Just be yourself and be proud of who you are.
Absolutely.
Just be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself. I like that. And do you know what? I like that so much. I've actually got a podcast on that earlier in the series, which is called Having Your Own Back. So I completely agree with you. That's that twin thing again, Renata, I think. Super excited. I can't wait to see this launch. And I can't wait to see the difference that this actually makes. And congratulations. It's brave. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. You know, you have to dig deep. You have to try and find skills and develop yourself, new skills and new learning, etc. And, you know, it takes a lot to create a business, you know, come up with an idea, you know, and then create something off the back of it with such purpose. So I'm really, really wrapped and excited to see how this goes.
Thanks so much, Sam. And look, you know, for anyone out there who's interested, visit us at maxme.com.au and, you know, find out more, watch this space, and we're going to launch in a couple of weeks.
I'm sorry, I didn't even say, where can people find you, Renata?
Oh, no, well, you know, it's the twin thing again, Sam, right? I know exactly what you're thinking, but yeah, looking forward to sharing everything that we have to offer with the people that most need it.
Love it. Love your work. Thank you so much for taking your time to share this with the Lady Leadership audience. You're amazing.
Thank you so much, Sam. And thank you for your friendship, as always.
Oh, nice. All right. Have a great day.
You too. See you.
Bye.